All right, welcome to the episode of Real Estate vs. Technology. I'm your host, Norman Kinsey. We have our co-host, Mr. Dan Gandy. How are you doing today, Dan?
Doing great. Great to be here.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I'm really excited about today's guest. We're not going to tell you who he is just yet because we want to encourage everyone to like the episode, subscribe, and comment below with what you're going to learn because today we're going all things YouTube. So I'm really excited about that and what we're going to talk about. And the individual we have on the show is in Newport Beach. He has a beautiful view, and we're so grateful to have him on the show today. So this is Levi. Levi is someone that is helping real estate agents crush it on YouTube, and you got to check him out. His link's down below because he's doing it himself. Definitely leading by example. 33.5 million in 2021 closing with zero ads spent. So zero ad cost. That's crazy to think about how you can just use YouTube to really be able to grow your business and crush it. And now 72 million in 2022. So featured in Second Ed and YouTube series. So he's a veteran as well. So thank you for your service and welcome to Real Estate vs. Technology, Levi.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, man. So it was exciting because I seen you at Grow with Video Live last week in Vegas, and that was an amazing episode or amazing event put on by Think Media. And they called you out at the beginning of the actual whole event. It was awesome how they just said, "Hey, you got to follow this guy. He's crushing it on YouTube." So congratulations to all your success with what you've done with that, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. That was a nice surprise. They didn't tell us they were going to do that, and then actually Sean brought it up in his presentation as well. And for those that know Sean Cannell, that's a really big deal. Of course, he's the co-author of YouTube Secrets, and they just came out with the second edition of that as well. And you'll find a feature of us in that book on top of that, which is really cool. So,
wow, that's amazing. Yeah, so Sean's actually I believe he's the founder of Think Media, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. That's really cool. And I was talking to Omar, and then Omar is the one that gave you the shout out at the beginning of the event there. So getting into it. So before we get into like techniques, best practices and whatnot for the mix up, which Dan will get into, let's just start from the beginning. So how long you been in the business? Why real estate leading up to where you're at today?
Well, I've been in the business as long as I've had the YouTube channel. So
really?
Yeah. So that's the funny thing. So last year was our first year in real estate. And that was the thing so over the last 5 years, long story short, last 5 years, I owned a financial services business, and I had contracts with all of Dallas ISD. I'm in Dallas, Texas, of course. And so I worked with the teachers on retirement planning. Well, every single year got better than the last year. 2019 was my best financial year ever. 2020, the first quarter started out my best quarter ever. I was outpacing 2019 by 40% in the first quarter already. And then of course, what happened in 2020 of April, everything shut down, all the schools shut down, and then basically my business pretty much went to zero, April of 2020 because couldn't meet with teachers anymore. I met with all of them on campus. So I would run like 4 to 5 appointments a day, meeting teachers on campus one-on-one, talk about their retirement planning, helping them, save for their retirement. And so, that was my business. And then whenever everything shut down, nobody was looking to invest anymore. They were looking to pull money out of it. And plus with, schools shut, there was no end in sight. So after a couple of months, I just started taking a look at, well, if I'm going to make a pivot or a transition, how do I do that? I was also 41 years old. So I was like, how do I start over without starting over? And the thing is I've always loved real estate. I've been involved in real estate since 2009. I had 7 rentals at one time. I did a fixer flip once, maybe twice a year. I was very part-time investor, you could say. Just a couple of deals here and there. So I've always been involved on the transaction side of it. I always work with real estate agents, and some of my most successful friends are real estate agents, but I never wanted to be a real estate agent because I know what they all went through the first, 2 or 3 years of their business to become successful, and I don't discount that at all whatsoever. It was just something that I just never had a desire to be that person, like shaking hands and kissing babies and, passing out cards at Starbucks. Not that there's anything wrong with that, just wasn't what I was looking to do. And then also whenever I'm 41, looking at starting over, I was also thinking about how do I completely avoid, actually, how do you get involved in anything? Because you start any type of business or anything, or try to start over, that's going to involve prospecting. It's going to involve getting your name out there. It's going to involve some form of marketing, whether that's marketing yourself or paying for it or something like that. And as far as I knew with real estate, what I saw over and over again was just a lot of the traditional methods. Again, people, that's how they tell you to start with cold calling, door knocking, calling FSBOs, calling expireds, or you spend a ton of money on advertising and marketing to try to get some sort of traction out there. But that's also usually what puts agents out of business very quickly, because it's just it's not very effective. And the best postcard marketers, right, is because they've been sending out postcards for 5 years, and they probably waited a year or two in the business once they had some money to do that, because it's very expensive and it's a low turnaround. It can be very effective, but again, is it efficient? So as I sat there over 2020 during the summer, everything shut down, 30 million layoffs. It's like, well, real estate, I sat there and watched real estate, start to grow and increase over 2020. And so I thought, okay, if this is the time to transition and actually make that move into real estate, how do I do that? And how do I start over without starting over? And how do I do that without cold calling, door knocking? How can I attract business? And so that was my thought process, was how do I get into this from a business owner and as a marketer versus as a real estate agent? Because I think that's where a lot of agents make mistakes, is they come into it to be an agent, and that's a lot of one-to-one. That's not really scalable. And I think that's why for those that do scale, it takes them forever to do that, because they're always thinking of that. It has to be me. I have to be the lead generator. I have to be the face, those types of that mentality. For me, fortunately, I've been in sales and a little bit of marketing for the last 20 years. So I thought, okay, I'm not starting over. So that's the other mindset, is like, okay, I'm not starting over. I'm starting with 20 years of experience, a sales and marketing behind my back. So how do I apply that now? How do I attract business? So I knew going into real estate, I was like, if I make this transition and I don't want to do all that stuff, I need to attract business. I knew the best way to do that, and probably the most cost efficient, would be social media. However, which platform? Because that's the other thing, is I knew if you scatter across all the platforms, you'll never really get good at one of them. So I was like, if I'm going to go into social media, I need to choose one platform, go all in on that platform, and then maybe I can expand to other platforms. So initially, back then, I say back then, but 2020, everyone, I was like, okay, what are people talking about? Facebook, Instagram, mainly TikTok at the time. Every agent was waking up to 10,000 followers, in 2020. And so everybody's like, you have to be on TikTok. And so I was like, all right, well, let me look into TikTok. Let me look into Instagram. Let me look into Facebook. So I spent time on those platforms first, but none of them really set well with me and my personality. It was just something that I looked at a lot of successful agents, a lot of non-successful agents, and tried to figure out, can I fit myself into these platforms? And I just didn't really see that after, a month or two digging into them. So YouTube was actually my last choice. And that was the funny thing, is because nobody was really talking about YouTube. So I thought, okay, well, how do I figure that out? Well, I'm a little old school. First thing I usually do is I buy books. If there's a ton of YouTube marketing books, you can buy books on TikTok marketing and all those types of things. So I found that book, YouTube Secrets. And I bought about 8 different marketing books on YouTube, but that was the best one at the time. Since then, YouTube Formula has come out, which is another good book. I think those are really the 2 best books, but they help you understand fundamentals and principles of the platform. And so as I dug into that a little bit more, that's the other thing that I understood is that I'm in a position where, being at my age range, I share this, I know, with a lot of 40-year-olds and above, which is we have this love-hate relationship with social media, which is, we didn't grow up with it. It wasn't there in high school. It probably wasn't there in college. And it probably came about the time you started your career, maybe got into real estate. So, it wasn't, we always looked at it from a producer side, versus a consumer side versus a producer side. So we tend to think it's silly, but we see the 20 and the 30-year-olds making money off of social media. So we're like, okay, well, maybe we should pay attention a little bit. And so, it was that sort of thing, is that as I started looking at YouTube, I was like, oh, YouTube's not a social media platform, it's a search engine, and if I get on there, I'm not going to have my friends, family, and everybody else judging me or criticizing me or whatever, because they're not on there looking at that stuff every day. It's not a feed, necessarily, unless you're actually searching for that content. So as I dug into that a little bit more, that's where I started to explore other channels and look at successful channels, unsuccessful channels, successful videos, unsuccessful videos. And that's where I started to see some sort of, painting a picture as far as a plan for what I thought, okay, I think I might have something here that fits me in my personality and that I can do. Because the thing is I'm not a great real estate agent. I was a brand new agent. So how can I talk to people effectively about real estate? Well, I think that's another mistake agents make going into it, is they think they have to understand everything about the real estate agent business, when in reality, I've been in Dallas for 20 years. That's the information that people are searching for. And I can talk about Dallas all day long. So I already knew my content and my subject material. And what I found very quickly, and what's proven to be found now, is nobody cares what I know about the appraisal process, the escrow process, the loan process, the title. Nobody has ever asked me a single question about any of that stuff, because all I've ever done is talk about Dallas. And that's the information that people are searching online. The things, if people are searching all that other stuff, it's because they're likely under contract with somebody else. So we're capturing people in the research phase before they've even decided to hire a real estate agent. So therefore, when they start watching your videos and they consume all that content, then it's, you become their agent by default.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of started me on that path. So basically, it was just kind of looking at everything from a business owner, from a marketing standpoint first, versus an individual and agent.
Wow. That's awesome. And I have to say that, anyone out there that's listening or watching, it's a difference between, and who said this? They said it best. It was at the event, Alex Mosey said, there's a difference between learning from someone that has no idea what the fuck they're talking about, or someone who actually has been there and done it and knows exactly, how it works and what they're talking about. So kudos to you, Levi, for, going through the process. And 33.5 million in 2021. We're just talking about you being in 2020 here, learning all this stuff, and you going in the process of feeding into the things that feeding into the things that you understand. And instead of lowering your self-confidence, you raise your self-confidence and said, I'm going to feed into the things that actually make me me, and the things that I already know very well. And then you did your research and your development, and then you went in and did it and just got past yourself, because you already were expert in those things outside of being a realtor and being caught up on, I don't know contracts, I don't know this, I don't know that. So dude, congratulations and kudos to you and all of that. So now that the viewers and listeners have your foundation is where you were, where you're at, and how you've gotten to where you are, let's go ahead and switch it up for Dan on the mix-up round and talk about more of the tactical stuff, where you got started, how you got started, the techniques, and some of the best practices, so people could pull from today's episode and start today. We want to see people pull things from our episode, start today, and have success with this process. So go ahead, Dan, take it away from the mix-up round.
Thanks, Norm. So I think the biggest question, and a lot of real estate agents are always going to ask this, is where do I start? And part of that question is, did you start doing some SEO research on what people were Google searching in other markets, and then started building a playlist around that? Let's talk about how you started your foundational playlist of what am I going to research? How am I going to turn that into a video? And then, really, where am I going to go from there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it came down to the books. I mean, YouTube Secrets, YouTube Formula, those will help you understand, I think, in my research. And then, of course, watching a lot of YouTube videos. But ultimately, if you treat YouTube like a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby. If you treat it like a business, it'll pay you like a business. So in my research, before I started, I wrote out a business plan. And I don't think a lot of agents typically do this, as far as figuring out a business plan for social media in general. So if you're going to tackle Facebook, I hear a lot of agents, even some of the most successful ones, say, well, I kind of stumbled into this. I just started doing this on Facebook. I just started doing this on Instagram. And then I caught one video and this and that. And they, even to this day, sometimes when you ask them very tactical things, still may not have a full understanding. And I think if you understand the platform, then it's going to help you actually write that out. Because when I started, I took 2 months. That's the other part I didn't mention, was once I discovered, I thought YouTube, here's the path. Then I spent 2 months researching the platform, all of that. So that allowed me to create the business plan. So I knew when I started that I had my whole plan laid out. I had my first 5-6 months laid out as far as what videos to shoot, how I was going to shoot them, how to research them, how to do the SEO, all of that, because I understood that up front. So it gave me a very clear path, how to start the channel, what videos to shoot, which one I was going to shoot. Plus I even filmed a month in advance. So I would be a month out on content whenever I started, because I think a lot of agents also will typically film a video or two. They get all excited, publish them as quickly as possible. And then life happens, health happens, real estate happens, and then nothing happens. And then they don't publish a video for another 2, 3, 4 weeks. And that kills their channel quicker than anything. So understanding, okay, if I'm going to publish 2 videos a week, you should probably film 8 videos first before you ever publish. That way you can schedule out a month's worth of content. And then gives you a month. It gives you breathing room. It gives you, makes you relaxed. And also it gives you a month to film your next month's worth of content. And if you can do that, whether that's filming 2 videos every single week, and that'll keep you a month out, or maybe it's 4 videos every other week, or maybe it's 4 videos on a Saturday, 4 videos on a Sunday, whatever is going to fit inside your schedule. Ultimately understand, what am I going to publish? 1, 2, or 3 videos a week? Okay, I'm going to do 2 videos a week. And then how am I going to get there? Am I going to do 2 videos every week, or am I going to do, that sort of schedule? But again, before you even publish, you want to be a month's worth out, at least in my opinion, so that you have that breathing room, and then you can stick to a schedule as best as possible. But the other thing about being a month out is that if life does happen, health happens, family happens, all those things, something gets in the way and you get set back or get off schedule for a week or 2, it doesn't ruin your consistency. It doesn't ruin your business. You just have to jump back in there and double up possibly to get to that. So ultimately understanding how you're going to publish, and then recording to fit that. And then on top of that, on the videos, it's a matter of looking at, you could look at our channel, and you'll have 200 video ideas to shoot right there. Yeah.
I'm going to say, there you go.
Yeah. So, there's definitely generic videos, pros and cons, cost of living, top neighborhoods, top suburbs, things like that you can shoot, and that pretty much does well in any type of market. But I believe you optimize for the algorithm in the beginning, then you optimize for the audience as you develop an audience, because you don't have an audience in the beginning. So if you create videos that are already being searched based on your city, you're more likely to get found a lot sooner than for you just making random videos. So the thing is that I knew the thing is you can tell TubeBuddy, Google, all that stuff tells you exactly what people are searching. So it's easy. Well, if there's thousands and thousands of searches to this one subject, why not make a video on that? And that's going to allow you to get found a lot sooner. And then as you develop more and more content, as you get 3, 6, 9 months into it, you're going to be responding to comments. You're going to be meeting with clients. You're going to be having phone calls. You're going to be very interactive. This is the other thing between us and regular YouTubers, right? Most YouTubers don't necessarily meet their audience or even have discussions with their audience. So they can also be, they can be characters, right? They can be something that they're not supposed to be. And that's the thing, is that we meet our audience, we talk to them. So that's going to give you more things to develop content as you develop your audience. Wow. And you're going to understand more of what's going to fit their needs, and it allows you to make content that will resonate with them as well, because you'll start to develop that relationship. So the cool thing about it is they already have a relationship when they come to you because of all the content they consume. So for us, the channel is like our buying presentation, right? Because ultimately when people call us, they've already made that decision. They want to work with you. So the video builds that relationship. Everybody already feels like they know us whenever they come to us. And so it's just a matter of us getting to know them. working with them, closing some homes. And then now we don't typically use search as much as we used to make content. We know what's going to resonate with the audience.
I love that.
Wow.
And I think, the biggest objectives objections that we see for real estate agents on why they don't do this, right, is a couple things. One is scripts and teleprompting and knowing what to say on video, right? Taking that research and turning it into an actual visual presentation that they're filmed on. But the second objection that we hear from people is that they don't have the equipment, or they don't have, all of these little things. Like, how do you overcome that? Or what do you tell real estate agents?
I don't look great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they have all the content. It's in their head, so the thing is that, if I came to your neighborhood, so Dan, what market are you in?
Eugene, Oregon.
Eugene. Okay. So if I came to Eugene, Oregon, and I was going to buy a home, I hope you could show me around some neighborhoods, right? You could tell me a thing or two about, if I was curious about Eugene or a little sub neighborhood or a suburb outside of that, right? So the thing is that here's the deal, is that when I come to your market and you drive me around or meet me at a house, that conversation lives and dies with me. And so agents do that all day, every day. They'll never scale themselves. But all video is your communication and sales at scale. It's your communication, first of all, because if all you have to do is make a video about Eugene, Oregon, everything that you would tell me if I came to ride with you, all you have to do is just have that same conversation with a camera. And therefore, you're giving the opportunity for 10 people, 100, 1,000, 10,000 people to see that conversation versus just having it in the car with me, which you've probably already done 100 times over your career, but you'll never scale that unless you put it on video. So on top of that, that's when it becomes sales at scale, because now, you can help people understand about everything they need to know about Eugene. And so the content is there, it's in your head. And so that's the other reason, going back to, I've never scripted anything, because I know my area. Now I can make bullet points or discussion topics. The thing is if I ask you, hey, how's the weather? Hey, how's the traffic? Hey, how's the school system in Eugene, Oregon? You could, I'm assuming you could talk, for probably an hour on every one of those subjects. Now, the thing is that all you have to do is break that down into, 2 to 3 minutes. And you simply have, what do you like about the weather, the schools, the traffic? What do you not like about the weather, the schools, the traffic? You simply have a pros and cons video right there. And you don't need a whole script to do that. I could ask you, what do you like about the weather there? What do you not like about it? Yeah, and you could talk about that. All you have to do is do that on video. So that's very simple. And then as far as equipment, I did everything on my iPhone. So if you have an iPhone, then then you can too. Yeah. Now, I recommend 3 cameras. If you have the wide angle on there, that's the best. So at least an 11 Pro or above on an iPhone, but I still use an iPhone 11 Pro for filming. And so that works for me. And then I have a $20 selfie stick and a $125 microphone, so, and it's that simple.
Easy.
Yep.
And I think the last thing is and I think this is the biggest challenge, even for myself, is the editing, right? Like taking that video that you shot and turning it into a YouTube video that people want to watch with a thumbnail and keeping people energized through it. What's your biggest advice on the editing portion of a YouTube video?
Hire an editor. I've never done any editing myself, and I knew that I would have quit after one video if I had to edit anything.
Right.
So even though it's very sexy, which we like to say, we did all that without any ad budget. We did have an editing budget the whole time. So, but what I like about an editing budget over a marketing budget is it's a fixed cost. If you're going to do 1, 2, or 3 videos a week, there's usually a fixed cost associated with that. So if I was talking to a real estate agent and they had $3,000 left to their name, I would spend $1,000 a month on editing, 2 videos a week. And I would just make as much content as possible, to do that. And I think after 3 months worth of content, at least on YouTube, you should be able to generate, something under contract if you stay consistent on that. So the editing budget is very fixed. I know exactly what I'm going to spend, and all I need to do is stay consistent. Marketing budgets can fluctuate. You can spend $3,000 and get nothing in return, right? So, and most of the time, what people will say is like, look, you got to stay consistent. Of course, you can't just spend 3,000 in ad spend, no matter what you're doing in real estate or any other business, and expect it's just going to come back. It's usually it's almost probably better to spend 1,000, consistently 3 times than maybe 3,000 in one shot. So it's just one of those things where, but also if you don't hit, if luck doesn't meet opportunity at the right time with that advertising, sometimes that 3,000 can go out the window. And maybe it's the next 3,000 that gets you that client. But sometimes that's all agents have, or they have a very small budget or a small window. And so the thing is that I would work towards having that editing budget. And that's something that not the best use of an agent's time. And I don't think it's something they should learn, and it's not worthwhile. It's extremely time consuming. But those that are good at it can do it very quickly, and usually probably 10 times faster than what you could do it.
Oh, thanks for that. And where would these people be found? Fiverr, doing a simple Google search, Upwork?
Yeah, you can find all those places, but it usually comes with constraints, because editors do not understand optimization, and also what you get, what you pay for. So if you pay less for something, you're going to be dealing with time zones and language barriers usually. So if you want I think the best price and a trained team that you also don't have to coach. Here's the other things: you'd have to train them and coach them yourselves, and VAs typically disappear after 30 or 60 days anyways, right? So probably the best way, if I may mention, that we do offer editing services. So
contact below.
Hey, it's all good.
Shameless plug. No, but we built this out of necessity, just because we kept seeing agents go through this. We were helping agents, build out channels, and then they get stuck, trying to find their own editors and everything else like that. So we expanded our team that does it for us. So now we offer turnkey service, which is simply everything's done for you. If you just shoot the content, our team will do tags, titles, thumbnails, SEO, descriptions, hashtags, everything, even upload it to YouTube for the agent, all done for you.
Wow.
Love it.
Wow. Amazing mix up round. Thanks for taking that on, Dan. And I got to say, I really love, Levi, how you're just very deliberate, to the point, and it's very laser focused. So anyone who's listening right now, rewind that, get some notes, notepad out, take some notes, or just watch it a couple times or listen to it a couple times to really let it sink in. Because I love, Levi, how you're just like very deliberate, and how you did all the research and development before, and you kept it simple. iPhone 11 Pro, not a big deal. Selfie stick. The one thing that stuck out from you is you spent good money on a mic. So you have good audio to be very intimate with that person. So it's not really windy or choppy, or you can't hear the person, or, you sound like you're as far as you are away from yourself and the camera. So I absolutely love that. And then super smart finding someone that can just edit it. Cause I remember at the event we went to, we'll listen to Sean saying that he did all the editing himself, and he couldn't get out of his own way at first because he didn't think anyone can edit as best as he could. Then he found out that that wasn't true, and then he was good. So there's all these different people in different cycles, whether it's getting out of their own way or delegation or whatever the case may be. So I absolutely love that. That's huge. So let's get into a last couple of questions before I open up the floor to you to leave anything that you want to leave for our viewers and listeners. So you said something around about 2 to 3 months, you started to see kind of success coming in from this process. So this is like a 2-part question. First part, like, how long did it take for you before you start to see success? Second part, what video was a video where you're like, boom, breakthrough. I got a contract, and now I'm seeing ROI.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's only really one video that a viewer has really tied us directly to, but we got the first call within 30 days, and we only had about 48 subscribers. So, which the whole goal of the channel was, can we make the phone ring, period. I mean, the goal wasn't like, can we get 1 million subscribers? Can we become, YouTube famous? Can we get a bunch of views? Can we make AdSense? None of that. It was like strictly, can we make the phone ring? That was the sole goal of the channel. And I think you accomplish that with doing things correctly in the beginning. Now, going back to this, the 2 months of research, here's where I think a lot of people make mistakes, not just agents, but business owners in general, is they don't have the patience to take the time to research something, to understand it fully before starting. Now there's a difference between analysis paralysis, and there's also a difference between, yes, I believe in just getting started, or like Sean Cannell says, you got to just press record, which I believe that too. But I also think having a little bit of a plan in place helps you stay focused and very understanding of what you're doing. So, and that's where I think some people will just get started and they'll stumble through the next year, usually, or even longer, just dabbling, figuring out things as they go, as to where if you just pause, go all in on understanding what you're about to do for 30 to 60 days, which I believe you can hyper learn any subject in about 60 days in this day and age if you really focus all in on it. So that's going to help you do that. And so from that standpoint, then it was you're going to have a better understanding it off to it. So going back to the original question, which was, remind me again.
So when you first saw the success, and then
30 days, we got the first call, and then 30 to 60 days, more calls, 60 to 90 days, a lot more calls, started working with clients. So we got the first deal under contract right around 92 days was the first deal under contract. And then April of 2021 we closed the first 2 homes. So think about this. Here's the timeline. Researched over September, October, filmed for November, published December, and then by March had a deal under contract. So really right at about 92 days after launching the channel. And the thing is that when we got that first call, the first call was $1 million buyer and only 48 subscribers. Now, they didn't say, hey, you only have 48 subscribers, or you won't have a lot of views, or you only have like 5 videos up, or, they didn't ask me, what brokerage are you with? None of that. They said, okay, this video you made on that neighborhood. So we knew it came specifically from that video. He's like, the video you made on that neighborhood really helped us because that's the neighborhood we want to move to. So it was very helpful. So we thought, why not give you a call? So that's the reason they called, was because the value was there, not the vanity metrics. So, that made me realize that things we were moving in the right direction. But as more and more calls came in, started to work with clients, and when they actually started to show up, around 60 to 90 days, we're like, okay, we really got something here. And then of course, getting them under contract. So again, 2020 didn't sell a single home. The first quarter of 2021 didn't sell a single home. So actually closing those first 2 homes in April, we did that in the last 9 months, closing the 64 transactions in the last 9 months of the year. Wow. So once it starts, and it started with 2, and then May, we only did 3. And then, so it just became a compound effect from there. And I just looked at the numbers. You really want to hear something crazy, is close the first two homes of April 2021. So May last month was 13 months, right? We passed 100 million. We hit 103 million since those first 2 closings.
Wow.
And I have to say, congratulations to becoming, you could say, YouTube famous, and then now seeing AdSense and being monetized. And for anyone who's the viewers, listeners, you need 1,000 subs, 4,000 hours of watch time in order to get monetized. And I have to say, from personal experience, I was that guy. I filmed like my personal life for like 2.5 years, and I wasn't super deliberate or focused as far as what I'm not a celebrity here. And they always say, even in the event we went to, they said, you got to niche. The riches are in the niches, niche down. Then when you get your audience, you can go broad. Well, I went broad way too quick. And believe it or not, now just shy of 2 years and about 130 episodes, Real Estate vs. Technology, we've now hit well over 8,000 plus viewing hours, and we are now monetized, and it was getting more focused and deliberate with our actions. So anyone who's listening out there, taking it from, individuals here on the episode right now that are seeing success from the efforts. And I got to say, it's amazing that, real estate agents, it's always that next deal. And I love it, Levi, that you're now seeing AdSense come in on top of the deals. So now you're differentiating, and they say like the average, like a millionaire, you want to have like 7 streams of revenue, what have you. So you're tying into having additional streams of revenue from your past efforts for your future successes. And I think the last question I have before we open up the floor to you is freedom. How much more freedom do you have now having a standard operating procedure and key performance matrix to be able to just focus on income producing activities? Because right now you're on vacation. I just saw you over in Vegas. I mean, for the viewers and listeners, after you get this momentum and you have this process, freedom, how does it look for you now? Like, what does day in life look like?
I'm free, baby. No. Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is, so here's the deal. Yeah, we came back from Vegas. To me, video is the true 4-hour work week. So for
Wow.
all those that read the 4-hour work week and still struggle with figuring out how does that actually work? I read the book and it's a lot of information, but I still don't get it, because I'm working a lot more. Well, if you think about it, video is the least amount of time I spend in my business now. And this is what's funny is most agents or people in general don't start it or don't get involved with YouTube because they think it's a time constraint that they don't have and if they think it takes too much time, I say that's exactly why you should do it, because if you don't have enough time to even make a couple of videos per week, then you're completely not leveraging time properly. Yeah. So think about it. Came back from Vegas. We turned around. I went out Saturday and Sunday. Saturday I filmed 4 videos. Sunday I filmed 4 videos. Each one, it took me about a 2-hour time frame. So really 4 hours, let's say, give or take, in over one weekend. And that gave me my next month's worth of content. So I was able to, come over here, to Newport where I'm at right now, hang out with the family. And next week we'll be in Austin, and the week after that we'll be in Orlando. So even with that, I'm not worried about it because I can come and knock out my video content. Those videos, like a video published last night while I'm here. Well, that's the cool thing about scheduling and publishing, right? So that's so that gives me the freedom to do what I need to do, because it looks like everything's on schedule, but everything's already been recorded and scheduled out and edited and pushed out. So that is freedom. I mean, that is what's allowing you to do. Here's the thing. It goes into the cash flow quadrant real quick. And I know you guys will like this. So here's the deal is that if for those that are not familiar, if you've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, follow-up book, the cash flow quadrant, the whole goal is to get from the left side of the quadrant to the right side of the quadrant. Well, the worst quadrant is the employee quadrant, right? Because you trade time for money and you're working for someone else. So agents, we think we're smart. So we're like, well, I'm going to become a real estate agent, right? So I'm going to become a business Wrong. Becoming a real estate agent, you are not becoming a business owner. You're becoming self-employed. And all you're doing is you're moving to the S quadrant, the self-employed quadrant. You still trade time for money. You're just doing it for yourself instead of somebody else. So you're not truly leveraged. The only way to become leveraged, to move over to the right side, to become a business owner, is you have to have a team. You need to have a brokerage. You need to have rental properties. You need to have a YouTube channel generating leads for you 24/7. You have to have some form of leverage that is working when you're not working, period. That's how you become a business owner. If your lead generation is dependent upon your efforts, you don't have a business, you have a job. So until you figure out something that is working for you 24/7, that you don't have to physically be there or be a part of, that's when you become a business owner. But the ultimate goal is to get to the I quadrant, the investor quadrant. So the only way, because your money makes you money, right? That's the ultimate leverage. Well, if time is the most important asset or the most valuable asset, why would you not want to leverage your time? Why would you not want to invest your time? And if you invest into stocks, real estate, crypto, Bitcoin, those types of things to leverage your money, your number one question is usually, what's the return on my investment, right? You want to know, before I buy this house, what's my ROI? Before I buy this stock, what's going to be my ROI? What's been the past ROI? What can I expect for it? You ask all those questions, but we invest our time into things all the time, and we don't ask, what's the return of the investment on my time? So to me, YouTube is the best investment of time, because not only does it not take you time, it actually makes you time. And not only does it make you time, it compounds your time. And so, last year our channel was watched 66,600 hours, which you divide that by 24 hours in a day, that's equivalent to 7.6 years in a 1-year time frame. So our channel prospected for us 7.6 years in a 1-year time frame. That's why we're able to do the business we're able to do and have the freedom that we're able to have, is because that channel is consistently prospect. And this year we're on pace for it to prospect for us 15 years in 1 year, because of the watch time is so much. It's doubled of what's going last year. So that's another compound effect. So I don't understand when people say I don't have time to do this. Is if it takes me 30 minutes to make one video, as soon as that video has been consumed 31 minutes, I've profited 1 minute of my time. And everything after that is profit of my time, right? And YouTube, the analytics, it tells us everything we need to know in there. So therefore, I can see the direct return on my time with every individual YouTube video and the channel as a whole. So to me, why would I invest my time into anything else other than video, period? So, that's the way I look at it.
Boom. Yeah. And anyone who's still listening or watching right now, you're a real one, because this is where it's like, this is where the rubber meets the road. And that's amazing to think about how you're prospecting so far in advance. And even with us, we're like 6, 10, 15 weeks out before this goes live. And now you can leverage this for so much more, because now they're going to go to your YouTube channel, seamless plugs down below. Go ahead and subscribe to Levi's channel, like so on and so forth. I absolutely love that, man. So we're going to end it, and we're going to end it with you just leaving anything that you want our viewers and listeners to take from our episode to apply to their business to have more massive success today. So go ahead and take it away, Levi.
Yeah, if anybody wants to jump, I host a live weekly call. And so if anybody's interested in how to do this in your market, they can go to therealagents.com, and that's REEL agents.com. So therealagents.com, you can register to jump on one of our live calls. And I kind of walk people through a little bit of this process, the timeline, things that we've been working on, how we did that. And then, we just kind of go from there. So show them, give them options, opportunities if they're looking for, starting this in their markets. So we're helping people do this. And then, as we mentioned earlier, we have the editing and all that stuff taken care of after the fact, but nobody needs to start that immediately. You need to get, you need to start building up content and creating that first before we get to that stage. So it's all step by step, but it's, it'll change your business, I believe. Changed our business, changed our lives. And same thing with my partner, Travis. Big part of it. I partnered with him a few months after starting the channel, and because he wanted to work on the transaction side, and that's what he's been able to do. And that's a big part of our success as well, is the fact that he's a closing machine, especially in a market whenever, last year we were seeing 30 offers per home. He really understood how to negotiate those deals and get our offers accepted. So that's a big part of it as well. We have expanded our team now, which has been great because the channel has demanded that. We couldn't have handled all the business just between the two of us. So we've had to expand a team, but we talk about that, help people do it. But otherwise, check out therealagents.com. You can register for the call if you want to learn more.
Wow. That is phenomenal, man. Thank you so much for your service and adding value to our viewers and listeners, because at the end of the day, it's one thing to listen or watch this. It's another thing to take massive action. So I appreciate you kind of like, it's all pretty. Here's your bow. So now it's up to you to take action if you want to take action. So Levi, thank you so much for being on today's episode. Really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Dan, always, thanks for co-hosting.
Tons of golden nuggets from this. Great to meet you, Levi, and posting on Instagram right now. Get some more people towards your way.
Appreciate it.
And thanks to all our viewers and listeners, as it is our intention for you to take these from episodes, apply to your business, have more massive success. Be sure to comment down below with what you learned, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching Real Estate vs. Technology, this week's brand new episode, and making it to the end, you're a real one. If you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified for new episodes that come out every single week on Fridays at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. Also, if you comment on this episode and you like the episode, you'll help this episode get out to more individuals. And if you want to join our Facebook group page, just click a link. It's a Facebook icon on our profile page here on our YouTube channel. Join our group page, network with individuals all across the world, and share what technology you're using to grow your business. The next link is to join our Real Estate vs. Technology brand new IG or Instagram page. If you go on any of our stories, you can see who's going to be on Real Estate vs. Technology before it actually goes live on our YouTube channel. And the last link would be if you want to be on an episode of Real Estate vs. Technology. You pick a date and a time. We'll deep dive into your story and technology you're using to share that with other individuals that view our episodes weekly to inspire, enlighten, show up, and show out for people that love to watch these type of podcasts to have more success in their own business. Thank you so much for your continued support. We appreciate it. We will see you on the next one.